If you're not listening to the Smoke World podcast, you're wasting your time, you mortal.
What's up, folks? Welcome to another episode of Smoke World. I'm your host, Stone. So go grab that stick, go grab a glass of whatever you're drinking, and let's have that conversation. You can follow me on Instagram at Smoke World Podcast. Email stone@smokeworldpodcast.com and the website smokeworldpodcast.com. A lot of smoke. Folks, hope everybody's doing awesome. Hope you're doing what you like to do, and I hope you're doing it safely. This episode, I'm at the lounge. I'm having a conversation with our sisters and our brothers who do what they do. And the question came up, does your spouse, loved one, whoever, girlfriend, boyfriend, whomever, have an issue with you, listener, buying too many cigars? Is there such thing? So we talked about that. And we got into a deep conversation about forgiveness. I know. Relax. What do you mean forgiveness, Stone? Exactly what I mean. Forgiveness. You know, we smoke with some folks and we look at people with the crooked eye sometime and say, hey, you know, that young lady or that guy over there kind of did me wrong a little while ago. I don't rock with them. I don't have nothing to say to them. You may give them the nod. You know the nod. Where your head and your chin just lift up like, yeah, what's up? You don't say nothing, but that's the intention. So we're having this conversation. Sit back, relax, do what you do. Grab your stick. Go grab that glass. Relax, and enjoy the show. All right, we're having a questions and answer session. A real basic thing scenario. I'm asking folks, brothers and sisters of the leaf, is there a such thing as buying too many cigars?
Absolutely not. This is not a hobby. This is not a habit. It's a lifestyle.
Would your spouse agree with that?
It's the equivalent of being a wine connoisseur or a foodie. And to answer your question, as long as I'm taking care of the house and taking care of her, don't matter if she approve or not.
There's a flip side to this because, again, some of the spouses may say, hey, we're getting older, you're smoking, it's a health issue for you. I'm concerned, baby. I don't want you smoking all these cigars. I need you around for me and the kids. Has there ever been a conversation in your home?
It's a conversation I have frequently. That ain't gonna stop me from clipping the cap and lighting up.
What's your answer?
It ain't gonna stop me from clipping the cap and lighting up.
That's not stopping. But what do you give her to make her feel better when she says that? What is your answer to that? What do you tell her?
I'm gonna die of something.
You're gonna die of something. She rocks with that, huh? Well, I guess she don't know. Like I said, she have no choice. But
there are some things that I will acquiesce on. There are some things that I will capitulate on. And there's some things that I will stand my ground on. When I got married, my wife told me I had to stop smoking cigarettes. So I went from a 2-pack a day smoker to not smoking at all. My wife told me she wanted me to watch my money. So I put my money into the house and I have an allowance. I'm not going to stop smoking cigars.
Okay, now you mentioned you smoke cigarettes. Were you smoking cigars at that point too, or were you smoking just cigarettes?
I smoked both.
So you had to give up one. Interesting.
Yep.
How long ago was that?
2016.
So that's kind of recent. That's real recent. Okay. How long you been smoking cigars?
2014.
And you were smoking cigarettes, I'm pretty sure, prior to.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you going back to the
Smoking cigarettes since the 90s.
90s. Yeah, speaking of the 90s, there's a name that they called you in the 90s. What was that name? What was that street
Born
name?
Knowledge.
Say it again?
Born Knowledge.
How did you get that name, brother?
5% Nation, bro.
Oh, okay. For
Take it
those
way
who don't
back.
understand, maybe you need to break it down because everybody's not familiar with what you're talking about right now. So you might have to break it down.
The 5% Nation was a group of individuals who based their ideology and theology partially on Islam and partially on esoteric faiths and religions. And the premise of the 5% Nation was 85% of the people are deaf, dumb, and blind. They don't know or see what's happening to them. There are 10% of the people who know what's happening and they run everything. And then the last 5% are poor righteous teachers. People who are going out into the world and speaking truth and trying to enlighten and illuminate other folks.
Do you still stand by that principle?
No. My only religion is me.
You. What religion is that? What is that?
Being a good person,
good person. Okay. Roger that.
doing good things,
Roger that.
trying to help people around me, loving people, whether they love me or not, being good to people, whether they're good to me or not, trying to leave the world a better place and make the little humans that I created with my wife better people.
All right, now we're going to kind of switch gears a little bit. I'm going to ask Miss Sasha the same question, ma'am. Do you have an issue? Is there an issue with your spouse? You smoking cigars? How frequent you smoke? How many cigars you buy? How much money you spend on cigars? Is that an issue in your house?
No. Because, like we all said, we talked about before, as long as you don't mess up the church's money, we should be fine. Bills are first. You know, it's about the lifestyle. It's something I enjoy. It helps me to relax. And I'm a stockpile. I maybe have, last time I checked, have about 1,000 cigars at home.
At home. And I noticed, I've seen you in different places.
At home, but then that
Keyword
does not
right. That's why I'm
include-
bringing up. I saw you in different places.
I'm gonna
I
need
saw
you to
digging
mind
in
your-
boxes and
Mind your business.
lockers and
Mind your business.
multiple
Yes,
locations.
I have all that. I have lockers.
So that's not including those hidden secrets, hidden locations, unknown to man.
It's about convenience for me. So if I have a locker, my locker is pretty filled with things that I smoke, things that I have accumulated. But one thing about me is, even though I have a lot, I still give them out. There's this saying and I think Keith has said it, smoke them if you got them. So I smoke them, but I also give them out as well. I like different cigars. I don't necessarily smoke the same ones all the time. And I'm more on the boutique side. And I really love aged cigars. So if I think back, I think the oldest cigar I have in my stash is from 2005.
Now,
And I haven't even been smoking that long.
Now that statement that you made triggers a thought process for me. Smoke them if you got them. Mm-hmm. This is one of the questions I did want to ask cigar smokers.
Sure.
We grab certain smokes.
Mm-hmm.
We're blessed with certain smokes. And we hold on to them.
Mm-hmm.
What are we waiting for, out of curiosity? I'm only going to ask you. You grab a smoke, you smoke that, you may get blessed with a smoke. There may be a smoke you may have been looking for, you find it, and you store it.
Right.
And a lot of it store for a long period of time. And the statement, smoke them if you got them.
Mm-hmm.
When do you smoke those smokes? Because I know I can speak for myself. I've been blessed with many smokes, and they're still sitting around. And the question I ask myself, what am I waiting for? What moment am I waiting for to smoke this particular cigar? Now, I understand some cigars you can't find. They don't come across. It's not a cigar you come across every day. But nonetheless, again, the Demarian promise. So what am I waiting for? So I'm going to ask you, smoke them if you got them. Are you one of those individuals that take smokes, hold on to them for years, and I'm waiting for a special moment, special time of the day? Oh, wow.
I would say yes, that's true. I do wait for certain auspicious occasions to smoke certain things.
I'm sorry, it just happened to me.
But I think for me, I like to smoke what I want when I want it. I look through my humidor, and if something catches my eyes, that's what I smoke. I like the fact that I have choices. You know, starting out in the game, you don't really know a lot. You haven't really been exposed. And what I do is I pay attention what other people are smoking, but then I also peruse the humidor to find something else that I want to smoke. So for me, it's about choices, especially as being a female smoker. I like them full. The size really doesn't matter to me. And every time I smoke a cigar,
size don't matter.
size doesn't matter.
That ain't what I heard. I mean,
That's what I just said.
Like maybe
That's on certain
14.
things. Okay, hold up.
That's
Hold
all
up.
these chicks was talking about.
Listen, that's on a whole different subject. We talking about cigars.
Emotion of the ocean.
We talking about cigars.
Not
Cigars.
cigars. Oh,
Cigars.
okay, I thought it was the same thing.
We talking about cigars, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not really. I have certain things that are my favorite, but for me, it's about choices. So it does make me accumulate. And certain occasions, I bring out the little more expensive ones of things I really love, and then other times I might just smoke something that's kind of like basic. It just depends on where I am. Like when I came in tonight, I had like 5 cigars I can choose from. I smoked one that I hadn't smoked before.
Okay.
To determine whether I like it or not. Every cigar I smoke typically is I have a 3-stick rule based on the cigar type. After 3 tries, if I don't like it, I will never touch it again. That's my rule. But other people might be different. And one thing I've learned from smoking now is that if I don't like it, I won't smoke it. And I'll put it out and get something else.
Okay, so now if you have those cigars, an abundance of those cigars, do you give those cigars away?
I do.
Okay.
I do. And
Did you tell people you don't like that cigar out of curiosity? Do you say, you know what, I had this cigar, but I really didn't, it wasn't my flavor profile. But maybe you may like it.
Absolutely.
Do you mention that, or you just say, hey, I'm blessing you with a cigar?
so it depends. If it's a friend, I'll say, listen, I didn't like it, but you might. So go ahead, I'm going to gift this to you. Let me know what you think. And then other times people say, have you smoked this? I was like, yeah, I smoked it, but I'm going to go ahead and leave my commentary to the side. You make your decision, and then let's compare notes. Typically, the people that I'm around, we pretty much have the same palate. So oftentimes the nuances that I pick up and that I don't like, they typically don't like either. But, you know, just because I don't like it doesn't mean you won't love it. Everybody's palate is different. Everybody's experience is different. And I just leave everybody's cigar experience to them. It's unique to who you are.
Nice. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. Ray. My man, Ray. My brother from another mother. We're getting the wires all tangled up, but that's fine, because this is what he does. That's why his name is Ray. What would you expect from a Ray? Now, Ray, my good brother, pose the same question to you. As far as cigars, now, are you a person who has a spouse that is concerned with your habits, whether it be spending or smoking, in your home?
Well, she never gets on me about what I spend, because I don't get on her about the Amazon packages that come to the house.
Roger that.
You know, so
so right now you're putting her on blast right now. You try to say your spouse is buying a lot of things from Amazon. Amazon loves your spouse. Is what you're telling the people in the world right now.
No.
Snitches get stitches.
Actually,
but proceed, sir.
Actually, she's not bad at all. And I
now
love
you
her
want to change
for
it up. Okay.
But no, she don't bother me about the amount of cigars I buy, because she knows this is my piece. You know, I have a couple of things that relax me that I really enjoy. One is riding motorcycles. You know, that seems to help me relieve stress, and also, you know, the cigar do the same thing. So she knows that I enjoy it. It's a relaxing thing that I do to, you know, kind of kick back.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned riding motorcycles. I used to do that back in the day. Now, how I will explain cigars, for me, it's a great time. You know, you smoke a cigar by yourself, but the experience is different when you got a group of people you're smoking with, you're enjoying. That's how I felt about motorcycles. When I rode my bike by myself, it was all right. But when I had the crew, it was a different experience. And that's interesting that you mentioned, you know, this is your piece. You sit back, you relax, But now the question becomes, I don't know how many cigars you smoke, but as we get older, they're concerned for our health. Has that conversation came up at home? As far as, babe, man, you kind of smoking. How many cigars? Did she count cigars? Didn't you already have one? That's another cigar? How many cigars you smoking? I hear that in my home. That's only because I'm smoking maybe too much at home. I'm snitching on myself. So that tells me I need to get from outside the home. This way they can mind their business. Do you run into the same scenario?
Well, she's not on me that much about that because growing up, my dad smoked cigars, and often. I don't get to smoke as often as he did. I'm not an everyday smoker, but I do enjoy it every chance I get. I found that during the pandemic, I have a little more time on my hand, and I do partake a little more than I did prior to the pandemic. But it hasn't really been an issue where she's really worried about my health at this point.
So you're not an everyday smoker?
Not quite.
Not quite.
No. I'll try to get in 3 a week.
3 a week, okay.
Yeah.
And like I said, depends on the environment,
If I'm
your
lucky.
setting, and
Right.
sitting there, you might smoke 3, 4.
Right. Now, during the warmer months, I love sitting out on my deck with my music. I put on some smooth jazz and get a stick, and it takes me to another place.
Oh, man, that's
So I
beautiful.
do that every chance that I get,
Okay, so go back to the name Ray Ray, bro. I don't know if your mom named you that, your dad, or whoever named you Ray Ray. Did you have a difficult time growing up? Maybe not so much in your neighborhood, because there was a lot of Ray Rays maybe in your neighborhood. But as you became an older man, Ray Ray. Did you have a nickname that people can call you? Ray Ray seemed a little hoodish,
Yeah.
ghetto-fied.
Man.
And then forgive me for those who are named Ray Ray, but just curious to know. How was it growing up with that name Ray Ray? Does that short for Raymond, or your name is Ray Ray?
Well, see, I'm the shy guy, so I had to come up with a name for the show. I'm Mac, though. It's no big deal. I'm just being silly.
Oh, all right. So Ray Ray's trying to say now you're trying to pull back and disown your name now, is what you're telling me. So now you don't know who Ray Ray is now. Now I ain't the police. So now you got a different name.
We're going to make sure around here, you never know.
Yeah, you are in a funny spot right now, brother.
Right.
Those things, you go outside, you might need to be a Ray Ray.
That's right.
Just going to ask you for some ID, though.
Yeah.
I hope you carry your ID.
Yeah.
Well, you so damn silly.
I'm just curious to know if he had ID. Ray Ray. All right, we're going to move back to, we was having a conversation a little earlier about forgiveness. And I think it's an important factor that we do forgive. Because a lot of times, we're hurt from different situations, but we hold on. At least some of us do. We hold on, we don't forgive. And I heard you mention that maybe something that we all probably still working on as far as being able to forgive and let go.
Right.
How has that played in your life? Are you able to do that? Because it's easier said than done. I'm just going to be realistic with it. It comes off real smooth out the mouth. But when you're in that situation, have you had the ability to do that?
Well, that is a struggle for me. Now, I do know that forgiveness is actually for you. It's not for the person that did you wrong. So, in my latter days, I realized that forgiveness is for me, and it's something that I must do. And I've gotten a lot better at it. But I must say, I am one that I never bother anybody, never try to upset anybody. I try to be considerate of everybody's feelings. But I have been one that will hold a grudge if somebody, do something
wrong
to me. So I'm working on that.
You one of the guys hide behind the bush, kind of wait for a cat, or hide out in the parking lot, wait for him after work. Like, I got something for you.
That's
in
why,
your mind, you're saying that.
That's why I use Ray Ray as my name.
Smart man. Smart man. Can't be mad at that. Can't be mad at that. But brother, appreciate that. Now we got this light-skinned guy here. I'm not sure what his name is, but Yeah, he's spitting all on the mic. We gotta pray for the mic. Anybody got any lights on to spray the mic down? He trying to do beatboxes and grabbing, scratching his nuts and all this other stuff with the mic.
Yeah.
Brother man, what name you say you was using today?
We gonna go with Ruckus.
That's it, Ruckus. Brother Ruckus, welcome to the show.
Ruckus.
Welcome to the show, Ruckus.
Thank you for having me, brother. Thank you for having me.
The first question we're asking folks is, I don't need that. Point this way. Yeah, thanks, buddy. Thanks. God gonna bless you. Well, first question was, are you an individual with a spouse who is concerned about, number one, how much you smoke, number two, how much you spend on smokes? So we start with number one. Does your spouse say anything to you about how much you smoke?
That would be a negative. And the reason being is the church's money is all right. So bills is paid, trips is made, whatever she wants, she gets, and whatever she wants to do is done. So I could be doing a lot worse with my money.
Yeah, you could be out in the streets tricking.
I could be smoking crack. Doing heroin.
Yeah, there you go.
All that crazy stuff, you know.
Okay, so how about number two question? Health-wise, are they concerned with, babe, you're smoking these cigars, you're getting old, I want you to check your blood pressure, I want your cholesterol, I need you around, you can't be smoking all these cigars, you're coughing at night when you're sleeping, you're snoring and farting and everything in the bed. I don't know if it's the cigars or just, because I don't remember having all this when I first married you. Now you're doing a whole lot of snoring and coughing.
Well,
what's the answer for that?
I don't know about the snoring and the coughing, but I was farting and stuff in the bed beforehand. So, you know.
So you've been farting since day one?
I've been farting since day one, you know. So she was used to that. But as far as the health, yeah, she's concerned. I mean, you got to think about it. You know, I'm over that nickel zero, you know what I mean? So you always got to be concerned about your age and you know, certain things run in certain families, you know what I mean? Like, you know, my mom passed away from cancer, you know, she had heart issues and so forth, but I mean, you do everything in moderation, right? When I'm out with the group, I may not smoke every day. I may have 2 today, give it a break tomorrow, give it a break Thursday, give it a break Friday, or if I'm hanging out Friday, I might have 2 smokes then, 2 smokes on Saturday, you know, 2 smokes on Sunday or whatever the case may be. But as far as smoking every day, you could say I'm smoking every day because I'm smoking 2 on the days that I'm smoking, or even more, depending on how long I'm out with the group. So, no, she doesn't have a problem. She's mentioned it to me before. She didn't understand the dynamics and the enjoyment behind it until she got introduced to the community.
Okay, so your wife now smokes.
Yeah.
So that does change the dynamics.
Yeah, it does change the dynamics. So for me, at one point in time, it was the last bastion for the male for me to just chill and do my own thing. And then I committed a dire error a few summers back, and I introduced her and her girlfriends to a couple fat bottom Bettys, and they've been hooked ever since. So, but now it's made it a lot easier for, you know, to create moments and hang out, you know, because now she's inclusive and her girlfriends are inclusive. So it makes it a lot easier.
So she ain't got nothing to say?
Nah, when it comes to the money and stuff like that, I mean, I'll tell you straight up, sometimes I mess up my own church's money, my budget, you know what I mean? Because I'll get on the site or whatever and the deals are too good, and then I go ham, and then afterwards I'll be like, well, I can't hang out this weekend because, you know, I messed up my budget, right? Messed up my church's money. But, you know, when it comes to her, she looks at it like I could be doing a lot worse.
So
you know?
Do you create, speaking of budgets, do you create a budget for cigars? Is there a spending limit that you say, okay, I'm not going to go over this amount per month? Or is it just based on if you see a deal, you grab a deal? Maybe you're a single or a bundle guy. Maybe you don't buy boxes, or maybe you do buy boxes.
Well, you saw me mess up my budget one night. We was in here, and the deal was one of those.
I'm sorry, hold on a second. First of all, I didn't see nothing.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, that's
all
number
right,
one.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
let's make sure we're clear on that,
yeah,
folks.
yeah.
I didn't see.
It was somebody that looked like you, But anyway,
there's a lot of black eyes running around here.
Yeah. The deal was so good when it came to the price point, per cigar. I couldn't pass up on that deal that particular day.
So you don't necessarily have a budget.
Nah, my thing is, as long as mortgage is paid, bills are paid, car notes and all that's paid, I have a certain amount of money that I know I can play with every month. And then, if I decide to spend it on pool supplies, or if I got to spend it on cigars, it may not. If the pool chemicals, I got to spend $400 in chemicals that week. Guess what? I ain't getting no cigars. You know what I mean? So it's pick and choose. And plus, I have a nice little stash at home as well. That if I got to go and dig in that, to hold me over a couple weeks, then I do that myself. And then also at the same time, I found that, like Sasha, she's very giving. I'm very giving, and I find that blessing other people, I find that at times when I don't have it, it comes to me. So, it ebbs and flows.
I think that's the great thing about the community that we're in, that like-minded individuals, they're very giving. If you don't have a cigar, for whatever reason, that's not a problem.
That's not a problem.
That is not a problem.
That's not a problem.
You will have a cigar.
Yeah, at first, because there's always a caveat to that, right? Because there's individuals, and we've all come across them, whether it be BY or B setting or whatever the case may be, they don't fulfill their
the liquor game's a whole nother game. We can go. That's a whole nother conversation.
Because think about it. I mean, you can have everybody. Some people have. I don't want to use the word everybody because that's categorizing. But a lot of people have this stigma that to have a good cigar, it has to be a $25, $30 price point, right? And you can get some real good cigars, and it'd be a $3 stick, and it'd be amazing. And for the moment, it's when you with people, it's not about the cost of the stick, It's about the memories that's created when you're having those conversations and that laughter behind it while you're indulging in the leaf.
No disagreement on that.
Because for me, man, I this is one of my favorite terms that I've coined. There's never no beef over the leaf.
There's never no beef over the leaf.
You could have some deep, interesting conversations, and you and I may disagree on a certain topic. Me and Born Knowledge could have a disagreement on a conversation, but it won't get heated because it's over the leaf.
Well, that's why I enjoy by the leaf, because again, a lot of times we can sit down at the lounge or wherever we may be smoking, and there are different perspectives on a subject matter, but nonetheless, it's a conversation.
Right.
It's educational. Maybe educate somebody to give them a different perspective, to look at it from a different viewpoint.
Yeah, or
we can agree to disagree at the end of the day, but at the end of the day,
or they might be going through something and they just may need a different viewpoint on how to achieve their goal. Right? Or that one day you sit down with that person and have a conversation, they may need just a vent because their I don't give a fuck meters at -50.
That's very true.
And you might be there on the leaf, chilling, talking to him or her, and them just, emptying out their cup just assisted them exponentially.
Very true. I'm glad that's a good segue to what I asked the last few folks as far as forgiveness. Like I said, easier said than done. Are you an individual? Because some folks are just born with this, but not most, that you can forgive and let go, or do you hold grudges and seek revenge? What category would you fall into?
Well, I would say I used to be the individual that would harbor the animosity towards the individual, right? And I would be the type of person that would try to hurt you in any way. And if I couldn't hurt you, I would try to figure out a way
to hurt you indirectly, whether it be a family member or a loved one somewhere
the
down
mafia moves.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because you
Okay.
ain't got to hurt somebody directly. You know,
Okay.
but
Is that why they call you Ruckus?
Yeah,
Okay.
one of the reasons. But the thing is, what I learned is that you can't truly be the person that God created you to be if you harbor a lot of anger, right? Because when you're harboring a lot of anger, you're continuously living in the past, right? And what that does is it prevents you from allowing more blessings to come in. You know, there's a belief in feng shui that says you can't get new if you don't remove old, right? And harboring animosity is keeping the old, right? So what I've learned is I'll forgive you, right? I won't forget. You know, I won't give you all the love that I used to give you before. I won't give you that unconditional love. You know, I'll be courteous and cool with you, but you're not gonna get all of what, you know, I'm capable of giving you. You know what I mean? So it's been regulated down, I would say.
Okay, so you've grown to the point where you're able to forgive and let go. Because that wasn't always the case, obviously.
No.
You know what I mean? Has anything changed to give you this new perspective? Has there been an incident or a situation that placed you into this particular place where you're at now, or just kind of?
Well, there was a point in time in my life, man, where there was a series of events. You know, things just wasn't going right in life. I was living a certain lifestyle that I was living. How could you expect positive things to happen and be blessed with when you're continuously doing negative things, right? Hence karma, right? And I remember one day I just looked up at the sky and said, God, it got to be a better way. It got to be a different way, you know? And, you know, I got introduced to masonry at that point in time. And with masonry, the first belief is to believe in a God. It doesn't have to be a specific, you know, religion or whatever the case may be. And as you know, read the Bible, read the Torah, the Quran, whatever the case may be, you'll find that even though they're different books, the truth is the truth. There's always going to be certain cross points that the truth is said throughout the books. They all correlate. They all hit certain set points.
Okay, so you said masonry was a
catalyst point for
okay.
me. You know, and
vessel
then, and then also when your parents plant certain seeds in you, you know, those seeds eventually will grow. You just have to allow them to grow, you know, and not buck the system.
Nice. I think that was very educational, brother.
Thank you.
You know, I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Now, Sasha, did I get to ask you that same question? Because, you know, I'm getting old, and these things happen. My Prevagen has ran out. But
We all need it at this stage.
because I think I spent it on cigars.
Right.
Instead of, you know, Prevagen is very expensive. That's
Right.
another conversation. But, Sasha, forgiveness. As I asked my brother Ruckus over there, who shared a scenario where things have taken place in his life where he's able to now be able to forgive and let go. How do you handle that? Are you an individual? Were you a person from the beginning? Because again, like I said from the beginning, some people are just born that way. They don't hold grudges. You know, they're able to let go. Say, all right, hey, let bygones be bygones. Where do you stand with this whole thing?
So I would say how I was socialized as a child really kind of solidified for me that forgiveness is key. I was raised in a church, so I automatically always err on the side of what would God want me to do. And the reason why I do that is because I understand the importance of karma. What you put out in the universe is what you get back. So for me, forgiveness is key. As I've gotten older and kind of been through certain situations, I also have learned that I might forgive you, but that doesn't mean I have to forget. Because there's a certain thing that you have to be aware of when it comes to your mental health. Some people, unfortunately, don't learn the lesson and don't understand the gift of forgiveness. So if they don't understand the gift of forgiveness, they also don't understand boundaries, right? So if a person doesn't understand boundaries, that means they will constantly, continuously inflict pain and take and overstep those boundaries. So with individuals like that, I have learned that I don't have to give you forgiveness or grace. I'm not God. What I will give you is a level of forgiveness for myself, because I can't harbor anger. If I harbor anger, it's like a noose around my neck. It's a ball and chain on my feet. So for me to be authentic in who I am, I have to forgive you. That doesn't mean I'm not going to treat you with a long-handled spoon and kind of stiff-arm you a little bit. And as I continue to grow, as I continue to mature, forgiveness is key in every scenario, whether it's professional, whether it's personal. But I just learned how to adjust to not giving you an opportunity for me to have to forgive you again, especially if it's repeat behavior. Because I believe that people know what they do. There's no excuses. You know, I might know your story, but just because you have a story doesn't mean that you have to continue to exude bad behavior. It's unacceptable. We have to socialize, and you can't socialize with people on a consistent basis when they're navigating from a position of hurt and pain. You know, it's important for each of us as individuals to work on healing ourselves. I have this saying where I say that everybody has situations that might have happened to you, but that's not an excuse for your bad behavior. You know, you can't put that out there. And at the end of the day, if you're not forgiving, you're not living. You can't live if you don't forgive. Because we all do things that are not appropriate. But as part of growth is we have to recognize and check ourselves in order for us to interact with everybody else. No man is an island. So if no man is an island, that means we always have to associate with someone in some capacity. And I think it's more important, I think we talked about that a little bit earlier. It's important to recognize what your triggers are. And the only thing that you're responsible for is what you do and how you react. And if I execute in a state of forgiveness, then I can control how I act. I'm the person that sets the narrative for how people receive me, because I'm the one that's extending the energy. That's my thought process.
Oh man, that was nice. That was nice.
I don't know about nice,
we're gonna lock that in, folks. Pay attention. You can rewind this. There's no charge for the information you just got. Sasha.
No charge. No
Thank
charge.
you. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Now I'm gonna ask BK. Now on the BK, would you like to? The question is forgiveness and being able to let go. Where do you stand? What's your opinion? Being able to forgive and let go. I say forget, but let go. Are you an individual who, for many years, practiced this, or maybe you was like Ruckus? You was hiding in the parking lot, hiding behind a bush, waiting for the individual to handle some business. Where do you stand? What's your opinion of forgive and let go?
I think the hardest part is letting go. Take care, brother.
What?
Have a good one. I think the hardest part is letting go. You can forgive someone. It's hard to let that go. You know? This me, this iteration of me, understands and appreciates the value of letting go stress and trauma. The old me?
Yeah, let's talk about the old you. That's more exciting. I'm sorry. But people want to hear before and after. You know, like to see that picture. You know, right now a lot of us got bald heads, but we used to have hair. So, the before and after. So, the old you. What was the old you? Because as we got older and get older, we're able to mature and say, okay, you know what? You know, we understand we got more time probably behind us than we do ahead of us. So you have a different perspective on life at this point in time. But,
Right.
you know, years ago, we ain't trying to hear none of that. You know, a lot of us from the streets, grew up in the hood. At least some of us did. And it's different rules in the hood.
Right.
So, for the purpose of excitement and entertainment, tell us about the old you.
I'm just going to leave it at this.
You ain't got to tell us what bodies in there. Like, you ain't
Right.
got to, because homicide don't have no statute of limitations.
Right. That honesty was never really my style.
Okay.
But if I'd said that I was going to get you, I got your ass. And
When you
the
say
idea of
I'm not to cut you, but when I said I was going to get you, how did you get him? What did you do? I mean,
I got him.
Hypothetically,
that's all I'm saying is I got
what
him.
did you do?
I got him.
Okay.
And,
What were some of your triggers?
But with that said, I made sure that you never forgot that you wronged me. I wasn't the dude to go out and body you. I'm not that dude, and I'm not going to say I was that dude. I'm not. But if I needed to get you, I was going to beat your ass to sleep.
Okay, you put people to sleep. You was putting Tyson's on cats. You was knocking cats out. So you was nice with your hands.
I was nice with bricks, too.
Oh, say no more. Night. It was night time.
If I had to get you, I was going to get you. But you were around to remember that I got you.
Gotcha. So what do you think transpired to put you in the place where you're at today? Where you're able to forgive and say, you know what? I'm not going to get this brick. I'm not going to knock him out. I'm not going to put nothing in his mouth.
Somebody got my ass.
Somebody got you. What do you mean by that? Somebody got you. Did you do
Somebody got me. I wronged someone and I paid for that shit.
So that was the awakening moment for you to say, you know what? Let me start forgiving these cats. Because at the end of the day,
Not forgive. I didn't learn forgiveness first. I learned let go first.
let go. Let it be. You got that type scenario. Hands up, you got that.
When I started making decisions in my life that related to the future, I had to triage problems and prioritize solutions. So at some point, I had to let things go to pay attention to the things that were more important. Didn't mean I forgave your ass. But if the infraction was minor, there was no need for retaliation.
Okay. How about the major ones? Because I'm pretty sure the minor ones, everybody can get a brick. Or get the hands. So, major or minor? Out of curiosity, folks listening, what was a minor infraction that, I'm going to let that go? Then number two, what was a major infraction? I got to put something on this cat.
I'm not even gonna go there, dog.
Come on, man. You
I'm not
BK
even
right
I'm
now.
not
I'm
even
about
gonna
to
go
go
there.
BK.
I'm not even gonna go there.
Folks, is people listening right
All
now.
I'm gonna
intently
say is that at some point, if you value your sanity, you have to learn to let go. If you're not, life is evolution. If you're not evolving, you're dying.
Now, a question I have with that, forgiveness. Now, the ones we love or the ones we care for, I think we're a little bit quicker to forgive and maybe have a discussion, have a conversation about what transpired. Cats we have no love for.
I'm the opposite.
Really? Meaning,
Inconsequential motherfuckers don't deserve my attention. It's the motherfuckers close to me that get dealt with. Because they know better. Or they should know better.
so strangers, keep it moving. Circle,
Different story. And that's why my circle's so small.
makes sense.
That's why I was just a circle of one for decades.
Yeah. So what do you think changed that? Did you have to
My mental
renew
health.
the mind?
My mental health.
Okay.
As humans, we're communal beings, man. At a basic level, we're tribal animals, man. We're pack animals. When you get away from the consciousness and the higher level thinking, we are communal and we are pack animals, bro.
That's very true.
We operate in packs. Not being a part of the pack or part of the herd is bad for your mental health, man. It's bad for your emotional health.
When do you think that moment took place? Was it a situation or just the way of thinking? When
Just
you came
the way,
up,
just
for
my
you.
wife telling me, yo, you gotta do something different.
Okay, so your wife was instrumental
Oh yeah.
in helping you kind of come out of that.
Yeah, dog. Yeah,
One man
dog.
show.
Yeah, dog.
Okay, gotcha. Is she the opposite of you?
The
When it comes-
antithesis of me, the complete opposite of me. She's a social butterfly.
Okay. So do you find that beneficial? Coming from where
It's
coming from where you
stressful.
came from?
It's stressful
What do you mean?
because I don't really fuck with people, so I don't want to be around a lot of people. And if I am in a group of people, like right now, we're in a room full of people. Where am I sitting? In the fucking corner, watching the door.
I understand that part based on safety and being aware of your surroundings, but just going back to that whole point of riding solo for so long, and now the wife is kind of give you a different perspective on.
I trust my wife more than I trust me.
Okay.
And if she's telling me I need to get my shit together, I probably need to get my shit together.
Do you find that to be work, or is it not starting to come natural? At this
It's
point?
always work
It's always work.
because I don't like people.
You still don't really like people.
No,
What don't you like about the people? What do you think? I mean, just based on the
people talk
experiences.
too much. People got too much energy. People, you know what I mean? People want to be in your business and shit. People,
Asking too many questions.
yeah, you know, and I don't know what your angle is because in the back of my mind, I'm always assuming the worst about people.
Okay.
And that's from my past experience. I always assume the worst about people. But not everyone wants to harm you.
That's very true.
Some people ask questions because they just want to get to know you.
And that's not really your thing.
No, I don't really want to get to know you. Shut the fuck up, keep moving.
Stay away from it. Mind your
Yeah.
business. Okay.
That's really what kind of time I'm on. Like,
Yo, mind your business. I don't know you, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Back about me. Yeah.
if I'm not
But
asking
now,
you questions,
the reason I
don't
ask this
ask me no
question
questions.
Because again, your average cigar smoker and the cigar culture in itself is conversation, meeting new people. It's kind of, I say it's hard to be in that particular circle and have that old way of thinking.
When I really got into cigar smoking, it was a solitary activity. It was a way to get my mind off of the shit that I was thinking about.
So when did you branch out and start smoking with groups of people or multiple people?
When I realized that there were places that I could buy cigars and sit down. You can't avoid people in a cigar lounge.
Was you
And then-
uncomfortable in that environment at first?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So what do you think broke you out of that? Just based on, you kept doing it.
I like to watch people.
You like to watch the people, but not interact with the people.
I like to listen to their conversations. I like to hear them laugh. I like
But you
to
don't want
watch
them talking to
people
you.
share.
As
Yeah.
long as they ain't talking to you, but you enjoy observing and maybe learning from different conversations, but as long as they ain't answering you no questions and saying nothing to you, you was cool.
That was, I was cool. I was cool. Now, I mean, I like, if you in my circle,
It's all good.
I'm talking to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely you are. And I'm beating your brain all up asking these crazy questions. But
Yeah, I'm
just
talking
curious
to you.
to know.
Yeah.
Because again, that's an interesting place to come from to where you're at. I mean, from what I know of you, it's kind of hard to imagine, hey, this guy was like this. in the
Evolution.
past.
Evolution.
Yes.
Evolution.
So listen, bro, I appreciate you sharing the story. Thank you.
My man, bro.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? That's some deep stuff. Thank you. Appreciate it. Good stuff. Thank you, folks.
But there you have it, folks. A conversation upon conversation. I want to thank my guests with their AKAs. I don't remember, but you heard whatever name they gave you, that's what it is. And guess what? Mind your business. That's their name. That's the name they're rocking with. Who am I to say anything? Well, folks, there you have it. Another episode of Smoke World in the books. Again, you can follow me on Instagram, Smoke World Podcast. Email stone@smokeworldpodcast.com and the website, smokeworldpodcast.com. Don't forget to let your friends, your family, your cousins, your uncles, whoever you may know. Don't forget, let them know about the show. Tell them to go like it. Tell them to go subscribe. Tell a friend, folks. Again, be safe. I will check you out on the other side. Peace.